Hello and welcome to another free English course. This time I will be looking at more differences between British English and American English. In other words, I want to find out if you sound British or American. Now, this course contains several parts. In the first part, I will show you a number of words and I will show you the different ways of pronouncing each word in British English and American English. In the next part, I will show you how each word is pronounced and then I will give you some time to repeat each word after me. So I will tell you the British pronunciation, for example, this word right here, and I will show you the British pronunciation, like I just said, and then you can repeat after me, and then I will show you the American way of saying that same word, and then you can repeat after me again. Now, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe on my YouTube channel and follow me on Spotify, so you can also listen to this on Spotify as a podcast. Links are underneath this video, basically in the description. And quickly, before we get started, I need to give you a quick disclaimer as well, because there's obviously way more than just one British accent. There's many regional accents, and there's way more than just one American accent. There's obviously many regional American accents. Now, having said that, let's get started with the different ways of pronouncing each word in British English and American English. Okay, the word I'm looking at now is spelled D-Y-N-A-S-T-Y. Now, how would you pronounce this word? Let me know in the comments. In British English, some people would say dynasty. Not everyone. There's many regional accents. Some people will not say dynasty, but many people will say dynasty with the D sound at the beginning. Whereas in American English, many people would say dynasty. Now, in my opinion, many people in the UK would also say dynasty, but that is quite American in my opinion. So here is an example of the British way of saying dynasty.
I'm furthering a dynasty.
And here's an example of the American pronunciation.
It's a damn dynasty.
The next word I want to discuss is spelled I-D-Y-L-L, and in British English, this would be pronounced idyll with an E sound, idyll. And in American English, it would be more like idol, where the I at the beginning is actually pronounced like an I, so idol. And here's an example of the British English pronunciation for you.
Sounds idyllic.
And here's an example of the American pronunciation.
Isn't it idyllic?
Now, the following word is spelled I-T-A-L-I-C. And in British English, some people would say italic, with an E sound for the I. And in American English, it would be more like italic, with an I sound for the I, the beginning letter.
No, this is not what I picked out. I picked out flourished italic.
The next word is spelled S-I-M-U-L-T-A-N-E-O-U-S. And in British English, it would be pronounced simultaneous. And I want to emphasize the I again at the beginning. It would be simultaneous. Whereas in American English, it would be more like simultaneous. So the I would be again pronounced like an I, simultaneous.
Full with a simultaneous spread of torpedo.
The next word is spelled C-I-V-I-L-I-S-A-T-I-O-N. And in American English, it would be actually spelled with a Z instead of an S. So it would be C-I-V-I-L-I-Z-A-T-I-O-N. Now, in British English, it would be pronounced civilization.
Civilization, schmivilization.
And again, I want to emphasize the I in the middle this time. Civilization. Whereas in American English, it would be more like civilization.
Phone and mild from civilization.
The next word is spelled R-E-S-P-I-T-E. And in British English, it would be pronounced respite. So the I is once again pronounced like an I this time, not like an E.
Enjoying your brief respite?
Whereas in American English, it would be more like respite. So the I is pronounced like an again, respite. Here's an example for you.
God has given you this respite to heal.
The next word is spelled S-U-B-S-I-D-E-N-C-E. And in British English, this would be pronounced subsidence. Now again, not everyone would pronounce it that way, but many people do. Subsidence. My point is that the I is once again like an so like the earlier words I discussed. Subsidence. And in American English, it would be more like subsidence, with an I sound this time for the American version, subsidence. The next word is spelled S-Y-N-A-P-S-E, and in British English it would be synapse. Synapse. And in American English it would be more like synapse. Synapse.
He's suffering from neural synapse damage.
Okay, this next word you might have come across already in the past. It's spelled S-Q-U-I-R-R-E-L. So it's an animal, and this is a word that many people have problems with pronouncing, especially if they're not native English speakers, including myself, really. Now, in British English, this word is pronounced something like squirrel. Now, it's not exactly squirrel. See, I still have trouble saying this. There was my German accent shining through there for a second, okay? Squirrel. That's the British English. My point is that everything is pronounced quite clearly here. It's squirrel. Whereas in American English, it would be more like squirrel. So the R's are very rounded in American English, squirrel. And the E at the end is kind of not pronounced almost. It's squirrel. It's just squirrel and all in American English, squirrel. Here's an example of the British English pronunciation for you.
Just to make a clockwork squirrel.
And here's an example of the American English pronunciation for you.
Squirrel! Squirrel!
Okay, this next word is spelled R-E-C-O-R-D. And in British English, it would be pronounced record. Record. The C in the middle of the word is pronounced like a K, record.
Prothero's military record.
In American English, it would be more like record. So the O is pronounced differently than in British English. In British English, it's record. And I don't know if you can see this maybe in the video, I'm making my mouth quite round. The lips are getting quite round for record in the British English version, whereas in the American English version, it's more like record. So the O is more like a record. Here is an example for you.
Listening to a record. What record?
The next word is spelled M-E-T-A-P-H-O-R. And again, I'm going to emphasize the O here. So in British English, it would be metaphor. The T is quite strongly pronounced in my opinion as well. So it's meta and then for.
A metaphor.
Whereas in American English, it would be more like metaphor. So the T is very soft. It's almost like a D, meta. It's not meta, it's meta.
It's a metaphor.
The next word is spelled A-M-A-Z-O-N. You probably know the brand, who doesn't? And in British English, this would be pronounced Amazon. Amazon. With the A at the beginning is pronounced like an R, and the A in the middle as well. And the zon at the end is quite soft. Amazon. Amazon.
Amazon thingy.
Oh, wicked.
In American English, it would be more like Amazon. So the A at the beginning, first of all, is pronounced like an A, Amazon, and the O is quite round, Amazon. So in British English, it would be more like Amazon, and in American English, Amazon.
In Amazon.
The same principle applies for this next word here. It's spelled C-R-A-Y-O-N. In British English, it would be crayon.
They are novels, they're novelettes. It's in crayon, you buck.
And in American English, it would be more like crayon. So I want to again emphasize the O here at the end. Crayon and crayon in American English.
Maybe it's not a crayon made of wax.
The next word is spelled L-E-X-I-C-O-N. And in British English, this would be pronounced lexicon. Lexicon. And in American English, it would be more like lexicon. Lexicon. So again, I want to, emphasize the O at the end. In British English, it would be more like lexicon with a kin sound at the end. And in American English, it would be more like lexicon with a R sound at the end.
Well, perhaps you can help me to broaden my lexicon.
The next word is spelled M-A-R-A-T-H-O-N. And again, the same principle applies. So in British English, it would be marathon. Marathon. And in American English, it would be more like marathon. So the same principle applies with the O.
Christmas movie marathon.
The next word is spelled M-A-S-C-O-T. And again, the same principle applies. So it's mascot in British English, mascot. It's actually quite a German way of pronouncing this word, I find. Mascot. And in American English, it would be more like mascot. So the O at the end is once again like a sound. Mascot.
told us that was for the mascot.
The next word is spelled Paragon, and in British English it would be paragon. Paragon.
Get a message to this paragon of yours, discreetly.
And in American English it would be paragon. The O principle applies again. So it's paragon and paragon.
This spell turns the sorcerer into a sort of paragon. The best of everything. Everyone's ideal.
Next word is Python, and in British English it would be python. This time the O is, like almost not pronounced, it's python.
The python?
Yeah.
And in American English it would be python. Python.
Could I have $100 for a python?
And it's the same principle with the next word. The next word is spelled Saffron, and in British English it would be saffron. Saffron. And in American English it would be saffron. Saffron.
Oh, saffron, that sounds good.
The next word is spelled Silicon, and in British English some people might say silicon.
Silicon integrated circuit.
And in American English, some people might say silicon. But some people might also say silicon, especially when they talk about Silicon Valley.
Silicon dioxide in the tracks.
Silicon dioxide, you mean sand?
The next word is spelled Polygon, and in British English, this would be pronounced polygon. Polygon. And in American English, it would be more like polygon. And again, I want to emphasize the O sound at the end here. Polygon with an UN sound, and polygon with an R sound for the American way.
Some kind of polygon.
The next word is spelled Taboo, and in British English it would be taboo with the R sound at the beginning. Taboo.
Definitely a taboo against that. Plus, if she got disfigured.
Whereas in American English it would be more like taboo with the R sound for the A letter. Taboo.
Taboo or trailblazing?
And the next word is almost the same. It's spelled Tattoo, and it's pronounced tattoo in British English. Tattoo. It's actually the same in German. Tattoo. Tattoo.
What the hunter told you the tattoo leads to.
And in American English, it would be more like tattoo. And I want to emphasize the A at the beginning here. It's not tattoo. So the A is not an R in American English. It's more like tattoo with an A sound. Once again.
It's covered in a tattoo that only Jeremy Gilbert, of all people, knows.
The next word is spelled Tournament. And in British English, it would be tournament.
As from this moment, the Triwizard Tournament has begun.
And in American English, it would be more like tournament. Tournament. The Tour is pronounced quite differently. So it's tournament and tournament.
I won that tournament.
The next word I want to discuss is spelled Herb. Now, this time, this is quite interesting because in British English, the H is basically pronounced, so it's herb. It starts with a H sound, with an H sound.
A rather rare herb, Gilly-wig.
And in American English, the H is not pronounced in many cases, so it's herb. Not herb, that would be British, although some people in America might pronounce the H as well. But in American English, it's often pronounced herb without the H sound.
I think they're herbs. Maybe they're...
Okay, that was the first part of British English versus American English, and now I'm going to give you this little questionnaire. So I'm going to say each word, first the British English version, then the American English version, and you can repeat after me if you want, or you can just listen. And if you want to learn British English only, you can obviously just repeat the British English version, or if you want to learn American English only, you can repeat the American version only. Let's get started. British English, dynasty. American English, dynasty. British English, idyll. American English, idol. British English, italic. American English, italic. British English, simultaneous. American English, simultaneous. British English, civilization. American English, civilization. British English, respite. American English, respite. British English, subsidence. American English, subsidence. British English, synapse. American English, synapse. British English, squirrel. American English, squirrel. British English, record. American English, record. British English, metaphor. American English, metaphor. British English, Amazon. American English, Amazon. British English, crayon. American English, crayon. British English, lexicon. American English, lexicon. British English, marathon. American English, marathon. British English, mascot. American English, mascot. British English, paragon. American English, paragon. British English, python. American English, python. British English, saffron. American English, saffron. British English, silicon. American English, silicon. British English, polygon. American English, polygon. British English, taboo. American English, taboo. British English, tattoo. American English, tattoo. British English, tournament. American English, tournament. British English, herb. American English, herb. Alright, congratulations, you've done it. Now, I really want to know if you sound more British or American. Let me know in the comments below. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments and I will try my best to help you that way. Now, there are many more free online courses available on my channel. Have a look at them. For example, this one right here.